Hey guys, how are you? I am just sitting out here absorbing the sunshine, and I was contemplating, what does a soulful life mean? Well, I'll tell you what it means, at least for me. Maybe it'll give you something to think about. A soulful life is the life that you know you're meant to live. And what I mean by that is there's a part of you that knows deep down that things, the way that you're living right now, is actually not in alignment with who you really are. And you find yourself questioning sometimes, did I make the right choice? Am I truly on the right track? I find myself asking these questions sometimes. And a soulful life is one where you're not afraid of death. And I don't mean death as in physically. I just mean that you're not afraid to shed or to ask yourself the tough questions like, is this really me? Where did my feelings come from? Why do I even behave this way? And that can be a really difficult thing sometimes because it forces us to take responsibility, which is something I always talk about. Taking responsibility for the circumstances of your life. Because not everything in our life happens to us, but we do make the choices that got us there. And I've had a lot of time to think because I've been a little sick. So I had just really come up across, what is a soulful life? And when I think of a soulful life, I think of on my last breath, on my deathbed, I want to sit there and say I lived the life I knew I was meant to. I don't have any regrets. I loved as hard as I could love, as open as I could be, and co-created with the universe. Pure-hearted, pure intentions, and present. And that's what a soulful life is. It's presence, it's authenticity, it's honesty. It's basically everything that I've spoken about up to now. But putting those things into practice, it takes real effort to be present in your life. Because there are so many things that we want to do on autopilot, and I am no stranger to that. We struggle to be authentic and struggle to be honest, not only with the outside world, but with ourselves. Sometimes I think that being authentic and true and honest with yourself is actually more difficult than with starting outside of you, because it causes you to think about things that you would rather avoid. And yeah, I'm no stranger to that. Of course, I'd love to avoid certain things. Of course, I'd love to pretend like everything in my life has been 100% me and authentic and true. But how could I be practicing presence when I didn't even know who I was at that time? I didn't even ask the question. I didn't even know what presence was, truthfully. I spent so much time avoiding. And so a soulful life is not being afraid of making friends with your shadows, with the parts of you that you'd rather not look at, the parts of you that you have hidden for a really long time. Maybe you're afraid to live with an open heart because you don't want to get hurt. Or maybe you're afraid to be your true self because your true self has never been seen, let alone loved before. In fact, you don't even love your true self. So, how could anyone else? Or maybe, just maybe, you living that soulful life will change your life right now. And you might not be ready for that. Because when you start the soulful journey, the medicine of the soul, your life is going to change. A lot of times in the best of ways. But that's where not being afraid of the deaths, the moments, the tower moments, the awakenings, the tough times. It's not letting those deter you and steer you from continuing. It's embracing them. It's allowing the tough moments to come, to understand yourself in a deeper way, to take charge. And sometimes that's the toughest thing, is to take charge, because we're used to letting other people, other things, other energies to control our lives. It's just how we've lived up to now. And so I was sitting here thinking about, okay, I always talk about soulful life, but what does that actually mean? And can I explain it in a way that you'll understand? And so I hope that's done a decent job, even through my sickness haze. This journey, a soulful life, it is one of the best journeys that I've ever been on. It's been so enlightening, so beautiful, and I've had the good moments, I've had the sad moments, and I've had the in between I don't know moments, just like everyone else, anyone that chooses this path. But it's also brought me the biggest blessings in my life, because true confidence in yourself comes from loving who you are, truly understanding where your patterns come from and being able to choose differently if that pattern isn't something you want anymore. And you really do create your own life. And it's probably going to look different than what everyone else wants, because it will be different. You start to appreciate the small things in life. You start to love sitting in the grass with the sun hitting your skin and seeing the dragonflies that represent transformation, and listening to the birds and seeing pairs of crows, because crows, they live in families and they only have each other a lot of times. Or just seeing the small synchronicities in the world around you. So you forget about the material things, because what's really important is the frequency, your feelings, how you feel, how others feel around you. That's what's most important. You have pure intentions, pure, open-hearted soul intentions. So when you live from that space, your life changes because you don't really care about anything outside of you. And that's where true power comes from. That's where true love comes from. Because you don't need that validation anymore. And that's what a soulful life is. It's one that you get to choose. It's one that nobody else chooses for you. They can try, and yet you sit there knowing that that's not your choice. And you get to sit there and acknowledge where you might have done wrong, or where you might have been out of integrity with yourself. But you course correct and stay devoted to you. Because no one else can treat you the way that you want to be treated unless you do that first. Nobody can love you the way that you want to be loved until you love yourself first. So I hope that brought some clarity in what soulful means. And I hope that you have the best week, or day, or month, or year, whenever you see this. Just get back to living that soulful life.